podcast where we try not to mess the podcast up. And how are you today, Trevor?
I'm all right. I'm trying to get the hang of this
Trying to get the hang of the
producing thing,
producing thing? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing all right so far.
making it work.
Yep. So are you ready to kick off the Bible reading? Let's just start there, huh?
I don't want to start there
Well, where do you want to start?
at the Bible reading.
Just start reading.
Okay. Genesis 6, King James Version.
Okay.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth like they were told to, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of which they chose.
And this is where we get the Nephilim, right?
Wait. So the sons of God, does that mean the angels? Or does
I've
that
always
mean...
taken that to mean angels. Some people have tried to say it's like, oh, it's another word for humans, and I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. It's angels. Yeah, it's like it's not just a synonym for humans. I don't think so. Yeah, I believe that means angels. I think Enoch calls them watchers.
Oh,
I
yeah, the Watchers.
believe.
Well, I
Yeah,
thought the Watchers were separate from the sons of God.
they might be.
But
I'm not super familiar, but I think I'm right. Anyway, point is, yeah, they're angels. I don't buy the whole that this is just another way to say people thing. Anyway, sorry, go on.
verse 3. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. So was that him saying that, like, we'll live out our days 120 years?
That's how I've always understood it. Like that's like the longest we can live. Like we can't get past 120.
Right, because this is after the fall of man.
Yeah, like eventually that would be like our max lifespan. Is kind of how I always understood
What was
it.
chapter 5 about again? I'm sorry.
Chapter 5 was the genealogies.
Right, okay. That's why
Yeah.
I forget it so easy.
Yeah.
What was that one over?
So
Okay,
like I guess technically you could get up to like 124, 128 or something, but I don't think has there been anybody that's actually lived to like 130 or 140 or something?
I have no clue.
They would be exceptionally rare if that was the case,
Yeah.
I would imagine. So I think that it's like a max lifespan type thing. Like you get to your 120s and that'd be about it. So that's how I've always taken it, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's another reading.
Well, maybe
do you want to Google it? Yeah, you're the one with the share spring. Google it.
The oldest person to ever live after the fall of man, I guess. Or in recorded history, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
Drum roll.
AI overview. The oldest person to ever live after the fall of man, according to biblical accounts, is Methuselah. Oh.
Modern records show
Gene Calment as the oldest verified person at 122.
Yeah, so we'd pretty much be right. Like, if you're really, really on your health, you might get to 122 or something like that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's not bad. Oh no.
No, I think that'd be pretty good old age. All right, let's move on.
Hang on, my laptop's trying to die on me.
Uh-oh.
Go on.
Are we gonna crash midstream?
Power cord. No, that's my power cord came undone.
Oh well, while you're working on that, let me just go on then. All right, so there were giants in the earth in those days. You got it?
Yeah.
Good, great. And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, And they bare children unto them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So I always kind of heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I always kind of heard that this was like where, the Greek mythology comes from, like Hercules, these guys that are like, legends, I guess you would say. So it would be during this period of time.
Legends of Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I was taught. So, and God
Okay.
saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Now remember, repented means like change your mind, you know.
Did you see
So
that? Did
he
you see
decided,
what popped up over here on the
what?
ad?
What?
It's Hercules.
Get out of my head, Google, you creepy,
That was
creepy commie
crazy.
computer.
You were
All
talking
right.
about Hercules and it popped up over here. It was like, wow.
Vile Orwellian communists. Anyway, so he's decided what this basically means is he's decided he's going to get rid of men. That whole change your mind, like that kind of nomenclature.
Oh boy.
So, yeah.
We
And
wicked people.
yep, yep. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowl of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. So he's changing his mind. He's going to unmake them, So,
That's what repentance means. Change your
yeah.
mind.
Yeah, well, this is another example of why, like, to sit there and, like, say it's like a continuous turn or a continuous effort or whatever doesn't make any sense like in other examples in scripture, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is a one-time thing. If God had repented of making men in the same way that generally like preachers try to use it now, then he wouldn't have saved Noah. You know what I mean? Like men
Yeah.
wouldn't have come back. But if repent means to change your mind, like I'm going to do something different in a specific instance, or I'm coming to a conclusion,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or I'm turning from a specific path that I'm currently on, like it's a one time thing, then it makes sense. The word repented here actually makes sense. It doesn't make sense in the way that they typically read it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it like the verb actually, yeah, it makes sense here when you just look at it as a changing of the mind or a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. Sorry, just being petty. So, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And these are the generations of Noah. Excuse me. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, and the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them in the earth. Oh, there's something that we did we get to the giants part already?
Uh yeah, we passed it.
We did. Yeah, we read right past that. Dad gum. No, I wanted to take a moment to point out that it says and also after that. So the
Yeah.
earth in those days and also after that, which kind of implies that they survived the flood or the angels came after the flood.
Well,
Like
we're
this
about to get to Noah and the flood. This is
Yeah, I know. We forgot to bring that up. I just wanted to point that out really quick that phrase and also after that means that either the giants survived the flood at least in part or the angels came after the flood and did the same thing, one of the two.
yeah.
So, just wanted to mention that because when you get to Goliath and Canaan and the giants are back and you don't really know why. So, all right, moving on. Okay,
Verse 14, I think.
yeah. And God said, yeah, I will destroy them with the earth. So, this is also an interesting phrase. I will destroy them with the earth. So, something cataclysmic is going to happen with the earth that's
So
going to
he
destroy
used
them.
Mother Nature, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. So, make thee an ark of gopher wood. Did anybody ever figure out what gopher wood was, or was it like a wood from that time only?
Yes, they linked it to a wood that we still use to this day. I don't
Okay.
remember what it's called, but yes,
Okay.
I'd
Alrighty
have to
then.
research it.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want to Google it? Like, what is gopher wood? Since you're Mr. Producer tonight,
What? What?
you're
What?
Mr. Producer. That means you get the
What
Google. You gets the Google.
is Gopher my wood? I mean wood today. There is no single modern name for gopher wood because the term only appears once in the Bible in Genesis 6:14. Oh,
So they don't
I
know
could
what it
have I
is.
could have swore I watched a documentary on this and they figured it out. And its exact wood is unknown, though theories suggest it could be cedar, cypress, pine, or even a construction method like glue laminating. But some people associate it with the rare Florida toria due to its local nickname, stinking cedar.
Hmm. So
Wow,
why would they think that's gopher wood?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, so
I'd
I'm
have to see if I can find that documentary because I
sure.
know I watched something about it at
Yeah.
some point in my life.
Well, I am going to say that it was a wood that existed back then but doesn't exist now. That's my money. But I
We
have no reason to think that,
we cut
except
it
that,
all down, or it died out,
well, or it got destroyed in the flood or something. Who knows?
or it fossilized and turned into giant rocks.
I think that happened to a lot of things. But anyway, yep. All right, I've lost my place. Okay. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, two of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. Two of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive.
Have
And
you ever heard someone try and argue? How would you be able to fit a whole bunch of animals on there? And you're like, it's very simple. Babies.
yeah, you do babies, and then you do the local like species or kinds, depending on which word you want to use in the area,
Yeah,
and it'd be fine. So it doesn't like, yes, it could be more, but if you're going to be minimalistic, it doesn't have to be every single stinking thing on the planet. It could be everything within his area. It could be everything within the region.
yeah.
I mean, you don't have to assume it's the whole world. But anyway, I mean, of course, the Almighty could have done that if he wanted to, but you just don't have. There's just no reason to assume it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and after, during the ark, they could have been really close to the Garden of Eden, which had all the animals in it to begin with, because Adam
Yeah,
had to name them all. That's just a
yeah.
theory of mine, but I don't know.
Well, if the climate's relatively even, then the same basic types of animals are going to be found throughout anyway. But
Yeah,
that's like
and
that's a whole conversation.
yeah, and then
Um,
after the flood, once they get off the boat, they migrate just like
yeah,
humans do.
yeah. Another thing that I want to point out is I was reading a couple years ago. I read William Lane Craig's what is that book? The Historical Adam, I think is what it was called. and they were talking about how a lot of these he doesn't believe in the literal interpretation of scripture, so he thinks that this is all kind of allegory and stuff, kind of from the time. And one thing I can kind of see that with Genesis, and I can see that with like the first 5 chapters. But one thing about the flood narrative is how much specificity goes into like actually describing how the ark is built.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, this is awfully specific for a poetic narrative. Like, we're not talking the Garden of Eden where like Adam's name literally means man. And so it's like not inconceivable, but Adam is kind of like a personified archetype for all men or something. Like, there's certain poetic tells that could kind of lead you to think that maybe it's just, poetry of a sort, or like an abbreviation of what actually happened. But here it's like it goes into a degree of detail that I don't think is super common with like ancient lore. I could be
Yeah.
wrong about that, but this just seems awfully specific for allegorical type story. But if somebody has a different opinion, they're willing to state why they think the other thing. So,
Other
anywho,
thing. State. Think. Ouch.
I hate thinking. Don't make me think. Anyway, so okay, let's see, where were we at?
21, I think.
Yes, and take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Moving on to chapter 7. And
We
the
gonna
Lord
go ahead and
said,
start chapter 7.
yeah, we got another 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every. Hello, Calyx. It's good to
Hey,
see ya.
Kalex. Welcome back.
All right. We're reading about Noah's Ark and the flood. So let's see where we are. Okay. Of every clean beast. Okay, let me just start over. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month of the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Excuse me.
Could you
In the self
imagine that?
same day. Hmm.
After not, after not seeing that type of rain, like ever, and then all of a sudden it's been raining for a whole month or more.
Yeah.
It's, my brain can't even, like, that's a lot of rain.
What's interesting, though, is that the rain's not actually what caused the flood.
The
It was a consequence of it, but it was the fountains of the deep breaking
fountains
open,
of the deep that, yeah.
which is fascinating to me. So it's some kind of seismic event,
Yeah.
basically. I don't know if you ever saw the earthquake in Japan in 2011.
Oh, yeah, that one was bad.
Yeah, well, during the earthquake, you got to see a process that I could be wrong about this, but I believe it is called liquefaction. And what I mean by that term, assuming it's the correct term, is that when there's fissures in the earth and it breaks, the the halves, I guess you would say, the plates or whatever, they rub up against each other. And that process of those two halves of the earth rubbing up against each other, it actually forces groundwater up. And so in Japan, when that earthquake was happening, you could actually see the fissures pressing and opening up like a mouth and water spurting out while that was
Wow.
happening. So you can kind of see that that was what was happening here, is that there were fissures breaking up in the earth, and the liquefaction was actually pushing the water to the surface. So yeah, you've got it out here on Google.
Yeah.
Liquefaction is a phenomenon where water saturated loose soil temporarily loses strength and acts like a liquid. Well, and that's, yeah, most commonly triggered by earthquake shaking, causing structures to sink, tilt, or fall, and leading to hazards like landslides, ground fissures, and sand boils. Yeah,
That's
so that's
crazy.
basically what happens. It actually pulls the groundwater to the surface, and that was actually what caused the flood.
Wow.
So it was more of a seismic thing, and
So,
the rain was a secondary consequence of some sort. We don't know exactly what caused the rain, but the thing that actually caused the flood was the fountains of the deep.
so do you think you could link Pangea to it?
Quite possibly. In fact, I haven't done a whole lot of research into this, but there's something called rapid plate tectonics, where they think that something hit the Earth and it struck in the right spot, caused a fissure or a seam on the planet, and it actually broke the continents into pieces rapidly rather than slowly. So it's one
Gotcha.
of those things where it's like everything moved apart really quick and then kind of slowed down over like a year or something like that. And by
So,
the end, everything was kind of approximately where it is now.
so if something hit, like, say, the Grand Canyon area,
It'd probably be
blew a
bigger than that, like
huge
something where
chunk
the
out of it.
Bering, something like where I think the Bering Strait is, or the Marianas Trench is now, or something like that, like something in the
Oh,
ocean.
going
Yeah,
that deep, huh?
something big. Yeah. So
Isn't
that's the
there another
theory.
spot that's
Have to
deeper
look more
than
into it.
the
Hmm?
trench? Isn't there a deeper spot than the trench?
I don't know.
Oh,
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That fountain, they always, for some reason, everybody kind of harps on the rain, but it's like, well, it says right here it was the fountains of the deep. I
yeah.
mean, so it was groundwater coming up to the surface. I mean, that's what that means. So I don't. The rain was a part of it. It rained in Noah's area, but it didn't rain all over the whole planet. While the rain was happening, the fountains of the deep broke up.
I got you.
You know, at least that's what I'm reading. You can tell me if I'm reading into it, but that when I look at that, that's kind of the impression I get when you look at 10 and 11, and then 12 comes after 10 and 11, which kind of implies to me that the rain came after the fountains of the deep breakup.
Right.
Anyway, so do you have any thoughts, Mr. Trevor? While I relight my cigar and try not to cough like an old man.
Yeah, that's scary. I think Kent Hovind has a theory that the pressure was so high that that's how you get the craters on the other side of the moon. Was it shot out that far,
Mm,
and that's how it was able to break through the outer layer of the Earth, that water layer or whatever it's called.
yeah.
Um, and that's what broke it, and that's why like dinosaurs suffocated and stuff, because the air pressure was so completely changed.
You mean the canopy theory?
Yeah, the canopy theory. Yeah,
Yeah. So in Hovind's interpretation, at least the older one that I saw, he believed in like this ice dome that was over the Earth,
yeah,
kind of in the upper layer, and then a comet smashed into it and broke up that dome, and then the dome actually collapsed, yeah, onto the Earth, and that's what caused the flood, and that's what caused the breaking up of the crust, because something had to hit the crust hard enough to cause a seismic event that forced the water underground to come up to the surface.
wow,
And so I don't think it's a completely implausible theory, because the thing that's interesting about the I guess the evidence that we have is when you look at, I guess, mammoths and some of the animals found up in the far north, they're frozen solid but the matter that they were eating, the grass and the plant life that they were eating, it's actually still green.
Yeah, so they were
And there's
frozen instantly.
yeah, because hydrochloric acid doesn't know you're dead.
Yeah,
So it had to happen within like 20, they had to be frozen solid inside of like 20, 30 minutes or something like that, or maybe a couple hours even. But the bottom line is there's nothing on Earth that could get cold enough to do that.
no,
So whatever buried them had to be like something from space. Like it had to be a very extreme cold temp.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I think the comet idea or even the ice dome idea has some plausibility, because
Yeah,
something from space had to hit them in that area in order for them to freeze that and to freeze a mammoth. I mean, a mammoth's a pretty big animal, so
yeah.
had to be pretty cold. So anyway, just interesting little anomalies like that. All right, where were we? We talked
13, verse 13.
13. And the selfsame day, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the three wives of his sons, with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, two and two of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life.
Let me stop you there. Have you ever seen someone argue the kind argument? Like, what does the kind mean? Like, what does kind mean?
I think it's kind of
After
getting
his
into.
kind.
I like Ken Hoban's approach to that argument. Honestly, I think it's kind of pedantic. Like it's a semantics game because it's like, look, you know the difference between a dog and a wolf and a rabbit.
Yeah,
Like it's yeah, there's gonna be like arguments about distinctions
yeah,
in the particulars, but generally, somebody back then probably isn't going to look at a whale and consider it a mammal the way we think of a mammal. It's like
right.
they probably wouldn't care that the whale produces milk and has live births, and
It
they
was just a
wouldn't they
big
wouldn't
fish.
harp on those minor distinctions. They would think of it as a fish,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And so it's like, yeah, they had their own categorization system, and it was probably pretty broad because there wasn't the multi-billion-dollar NGO grant, economy that was keeping the scientific community running, so they could fight about pedantic definitions and
yeah.
justify their existence. So, anyway, that might
It,
be a
it
little snarky, but anyhow.
well, it baffles me that they're like, what does it mean? And they'll just ask that same question over and over and over again. What does of their kind mean? I just explained it to you, you know, and they'll ask it again right after you get done explaining it.
It's like, is there a
Same
difference
question.
between a dog and a cat?
And they won't admit that. They'll be like, that doesn't tell me what kind it is.
Well, no, not technically. They have fur. It's like, you're just being petty.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a difference between a dog and a cat. And the point is, they had their own way of understanding those differences. It's not going to be the same as ours. But they had a way of classifying it. That's all you need to know. I mean, it's a broad definition, but at the same time, everybody recognizes the difference between a dog and a cat or a dog and a banana or whatever. So I
Cat
like
goes,
I can't help but like Hoven's aggravated contempt for those people. It
cat
makes
goes,
me
woof, dog goes, meow.
yeah. It's like I just I appreciate it because it's like you're just being petty. You know what it means. They had they classified the animals their own way, and he brought them in based on that classification.
It's almost,
And that's all. Yeah.
it's almost like me asking, what is a woman?
Well, I don't know. They both got skin. It's hard to tell, Trevor.
What's the definition? What is a man? What is a woman?
Someone. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
let's move on. Where were we at? Let's see.
15, 16.
All right. Yeah, and they that went in, male and female, of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. Now, see, if this was a poetic narrative, I don't think you'd be getting numbers like 15 cubits.
How
Like,
long
I
is
think that
how
implies
long
that
is a
this is
cubit?
meant to be a record, and I believe the record. I don't remember. I think it's like from tip of the finger to elbow, if I remember correctly. So
How
that measurement's going to vary depending on the
long
person.
is a cubit? Yeah, 18 inches
Yeah.
for standard.
Yeah.
With longer versions, it could reach about 21.
Right. So it's
Or,
an approximate thing.
yeah,
But the bottom line is that's a specific number. I don't think they would be giving specific numbers if this was meant to be read as an allegory. That's just my opinion.
yeah.
I wouldn't make the same claim necessarily about the Garden of Eden, but or like the story of creation, but this I think is definitely meant to be read literally. That's just my own thoughts on it. So, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. And all in whose nostrils was the breath of life of all that was in the dry land died, and every living substance was destroyed which was upon the earth of the ground, both man and cattle and the creeping things and the fowl of heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Now, this gets us into an interesting question because it's saying here that everything died.
Everything.
But we also have the giants line up here implying that the giants lived. So there's like a couple things that you can read from this. At least I think. So it's where is that line? Why in the oh, that was in 6 because I'm an idiot. In 6, it said that the giants were there after the flood, implying either the angels kept doing what they were doing or they survived. So this begs the question: did the angels come back after the flood and continue what they were doing before, or is this these lines about everything being destroyed in at the end of 7, is that supposed to be like hyperbole, as in, okay, generally speaking everything died, but not literally universally every single last thing that breathed died? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
Because
I mean,
sometimes it's like for example in a movie somebody might scream kill them all, but they don't mean literally kill them all. They mean go get them, attack, you know,
right.
be super aggressive. You know what I mean? Like, is this hyperbole, or is this meant to be like literally everything died?
Yeah.
Because
Well, I
you've either
mean,
got you've either got an interpretation where the angels can like went back and did the same thing again after the flood,
yeah.
or you've got this interpretation where this is just hyperbole and some of the giants survived. Or maybe you could say the giants weren't actually sentient. Like maybe you could say that. But then again, that wouldn't necessarily work. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, that wouldn't necessarily work because it's saying everything else, like every living substance was destroyed. So it can't be that they weren't technically alive in the sense that they were sentient. So yeah, you're left with one of two interpretations. Either the angels came back and did the same thing again later, or the idea that everything was destroyed is basically hyperbolic.
And I believe I heard a, a documentary where somebody was saying like they linked it's in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I think it's Deuteronomy where it talks about the lineages of the three sons,
Uh huh.
and I think it's Shem. They actually, because his wife was part of the lineage of the giants, I think, and that's
So
how
they
they
think one of the
were.
wives was connected to
One
the
of the
giants.
wives was connected to that lineage,
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
and that was a theory.
That's a possibility. I mean,
Because one of them that gets off the boat doesn't follow Noah's teaching and goes off on his own, right?
well, he makes fun of his dad when he's passed out, drunk and naked, and then the dad gets mad. You know, Noah gets mad and punishes him and sends him off. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
maybe we'll read about that later.
Yeah, that'd be the next chapter. So, no, that's
Okay.
an interesting one. I hadn't heard that. Is there a particular reason why they think that, or were they just kind of
They were just
like
theorizing.
postulating?
It was
Okay.
theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
A
All
lot of
right. Well,
a lot of what we read into is theoretical. So
yeah, that's true. We're just speculating. So tell me if there's another theory out there in the comments if you got one. So let's
if
see.
you
Let's
got one,
wrap this up. And every living substance was destroyed which is upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven. And they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him, in the ark, and the waters prevailed upon the earth, 150 days. And that's the end of 7. We got through 2 chapters in one sitting. We were booking
wow,
tonight, Trevor. Look at
heck
us.
yeah, well done.
Heck yeah.
In 38 minutes.
38 minutes. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. All right, so that we'll pick up chapter 8 next week. Any final thoughts, good sir?
Nope, I think we're doing all right. So
All right. Well, we're going to end the first segment of this. If you are watching the live stream, stay with us. We've got another 3 segments left. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.